Mr. Noor Hisham bin Rosli, Acting Chief Executive of MiDAS, Mrs. Miriam Fisher, Director of Konrad Adenauer Stiftung Malaysia, the co-organizer of today's online conference, our distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to all from our side of the world, and good morning to those in Germany and elsewhere. It gives me great pleasure to be online today. Please first allow me to thank the organizers, Malaysian Institute of Defence and Security, MiDAS, and the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, KAS, Malaysia, for inviting me to deliver the keynote address for MiDAS-KAS Conference 2020 titled Pandemic Response and Beyond. Therefore, congratulations to MiDAS and KAS Malaysia for organizing this event. I am told that this online conference has brought together over 100 policymakers, professionals, operators, think tanks, and academia from Malaysia and various parts of the world. The sudden attack of COVID-19 has taken an overwhelming toll on nations around the world, with the loss of over 1.54 million of valuable lives. Hence, I would like to request that we take a minute of silence for those who have tragically passed away due to COVID-19 as an expression of our condolence to their families. Esteemed moderator, speakers, and participants, I remember that I came into office as the Minister of Defence and the Senior Minister for Security on 10 March 2020. The very next day, the World Health Organization, or WHO, announced COVID-19 outbreak as a pandemic. 6 days later, on 16 March 2020, our Prime Minister announced via telecast the implementation of Movement Control Order, or MCO. As the Senior Minister for the Security Cluster, I was put overall responsible of our pandemic responses, and it has certainly been a whirlwind experience. I have been a minister to various ministries prior to this, but all my previous experience in no way could have prepared me for this. However, as a senior minister, it is certainly a new experience to be working with multiple ministries and agencies, civilian as well as uniform, in responding to COVID-19 pandemic. Throughout this experience, the very important aspect of the whole government and society approach that our defense white paper has been preaching was certainly reflected in the responses we have taken against COVID-19 pandemic. In Malaysia, we have saying, bersatu kita teguh, bercerai kita roboh, which means together we are strong, divided we fall. This also reflects our civil-military cooperation in responding to COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, ever since that fateful day that I was put in charge of the response, I have almost constantly been at the National Security Council, or NSC. The Prime Minister Office and other NSC members are on my speed dial, and endless updates and meetings are the order of the day. We have terms working on the details of each phase of the MCO and also on the development of SOPs. This had to consider mainly the health and security of our nation in order to maintain the well-being of our people. The recent resurgence of the pandemic is an indicator that even a small lapse in control is extremely detrimental. The government has implemented again the Conditional Movement Control Order or CMCO in certain states to break the chain of transmission and save lives and also to safeguard our essential health services. However, please lend me your ears to something that directly concerns all of us. We have listened frequently about the uncommon nature of the COVID-19 pandemic. The IMF portrays it as the emergency like no other because it impacts all nations at the same time, not just in terms of public health, but also in terms of socio-economic well-being and security of the worldwide populace. Nevertheless, Malaysia has been recognized as one of the most successful countries in handling the socio-economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Malaysian Ministry of Finance, Malaysia's gross domestic product, GDP, is expected to contract by 4.5% in 2020 before regaining its growth in 2021 by 6.5% to 7.5%. In recent weeks, we have seen the pandemic continuing to peak in some countries and returning in others. And amidst this uncertainty, the steps for reopening and reinventing remains unchanged. But countries must now consider how the pandemic impacts the recovery strategies across different geographies. Esteemed speakers and participants, the COVID-19 pandemic has radically modified the maritime domain by emphasizing social and political gaps that exist along Asia-Pacific's coastline, such as internal political insecurity and financial grievances. These gaps have spilled over into the maritime domain as reports of wrongdoing such as illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, piracy, armed robberies, as well as illegal immigration has increased since the onset of the pandemic. In today's context, illegal migration is no longer a simple case of a person crossing borders without proper documentation. Today, it has become even more complex as we are unsure if there could also be a mule for the virus that is harmful for the locals. For Malaysia, this has certainly been the case as reflected by the statistic rising in several illegal immigrant detention centers that has also spilled outside infecting the local masses. In order to overcome such threats, Malaysia has implemented inter-agency operation such as Ops Benteng to protect maritime borders, and this is an example for a whole government approach and civil-military cooperation. However, Ops Benteng is not the only civil-military operation that is currently in operation. Other examples are the MAF Field Hospital in Tawau, which has increased Tawau Hospital bed capacity by 25%, the integrated enforcement immigration operations, which has increased the numbers of illegal immigrants caught, as well as the joint roadblock operation with Royal Malaysia Police in enforcing CMCO. Civil-military cooperation has and will probably be the future norm. Based on the current situation in Malaysia and other ASEAN member states, whereby militaries are deployed to assist, it would be most beneficial for ASEAN to tap resources from the ADMM plus expert working group in military medicine and humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. Currently, ASEAN already have ASEAN Military Ready Group to respond to natural disaster. However, from the current pandemic experience, it would be advantageous if we could explore how the existing military resources could be utilized for addressing pandemic across the region. Ladies and gentlemen, hence, being completely mindful in these dangers which might cause long-term harm to security, society and economy, the Malaysian government made the actualize its 6R technique, that is resolve, resilient, restart, recovery, revitalize and reform. Furthermore, in order to ensure 6R technique is successful, there is a high need for cooperation beyond just national level in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, it is my fervent hope that we could discuss attentively and gain knowledge from this online conference. I sincerely appreciate the effort and initiative undertaken by MiDAS and KAS to realize the implementation of this virtual conference, and I look forward to the outcome of this event. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.